Come on, come on. Setting us up. Yeah, we're good. I see it on Facebook. Hooray. Welcome, everyone, to the first ever episode of Coach Magic. My name is Jenny Fenig. I am so psyched to be with you today. I have a really special guest named Lisa Hines with us. I'm going to introduce her in a moment. I simply wanted to give you a little bit more insight into this show, why I'm doing this, why I said, you know what, we're going to do this little thing called Coach Magic, and we're going to do it now. So here's the deal. I've been a coach for a long time. Coaching has been my craft since 2008. I am so passionate about helping more coaches succeed. And I wanted to create this show for you to give you a taste of this path of coaching, what is possible for you. I wanted to introduce you to some incredible coaches so you can learn more about their journey and really get you on that path of doing what you came here to do. If you know you're called to help people, coaching is an amazing way to do it because it's so flexible and it's so rich, full with opportunities. And we're going to be uncovering some of those opportunities here in Coach Magic. So I am your host, Jenny Fenig, and today I'm going to introduce you to an amazing coach named Lisa Hines. And let me tell you more about Lisa. Well, what do you get when you blend up a master's in transpersonal psychology, a background in business coaching and tech skills and launch strategies? You get an amazing coach named Lisa Hines. She is our first guest today. And we're going to be talking about her journey through coaching. And she's also going to be sharing with us 3 mistakes wellness entrepreneurs make when it comes to email marketing. Lisa's also a graduate of Magic Makers Coach Certification, which is a powerhouse program dedicated to helping you master the craft and business of intuitive coaching online. Lisa, welcome to Coach Magic.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here, Jenny. It's my pleasure.
Oh, awesome. All right. So let's dive in and really, backtrack. We need to go in the time machine and learn more about your own career journey. I mean, did you always know you were going to be a coach? When did you realize this was a thing and this was a thing that you were here to do?
Yeah. So, way back, I got my bachelor's degree in psychology. So I've always had an affinity towards helping people. And back in the mid 90s, they called it career development, was the closest thing to coaching besides therapy. And I knew I didn't want to do therapy. And so I studied career development and biofeedback at the time. And then in the early 2000s, it was 2003, I decided to go ahead and get certified as a coach in 2003, which it looked very different back then than it does today, of course. And then, through the years, I was always, had this dream of doing the coaching. And so it was always on the side kind of thing while I did a job, and then I did real estate. So I always had these other things going on. And, I always wanted coaching to be the primary thing that I did, but needed to have an income. So, so yeah, it's always been there. And it's kind of one of those things that for me and many of the other coaches that I've been in community with, it's like, we can't not do it. It's something that is always there calling to us. So every opportunity I get to dive deeper into coaching and have it be the one thing, that's what I do. And so, yeah.
I love it. I would love what you kind of that way back machine where you want. So with career development, which is what you studied, what was it about that path, career, helping someone develop in their career? What was so exciting to you about that?
Well, number one, where I went to school, Sonoma State University, their big thing is psychology. And so with career development, it was really doing a lot of life coaching also. I mean, we were looking at the whole picture, the big picture of things. And I guess for me, it's really about wanting to have meaning and purpose and not just doing a job for the sake of doing a job. and just really wanting to have purpose, and also importantly is incorporating my personal and spiritual growth into every aspect of my life.
Mhm.
And I think that's kind of the nature of the beast of who coaches really are, is that's what we do.
Mhm.
Everything's
Mhm.
intertwined. And so
Mhm.
it becomes a way of life. And by really helping other people, I mean, it sounds so cliche, but for really helping people embrace all of life,
Mhm.
that's really the crux of it. And
Mhm.
similar to your story, Jenny,
Mhm.
everybody has a story, but my story, encountered death at a very early age, um, encountered my potential death at age 29 with cancer, and numerous other
Mhm.
times, I'm sure. But you really start to grasp how precious it is to truly live life, and to
Mhm.
not just go through the motions every day. And so that deeper kind of soul calling is
Mhm.
I think where it stems from.
Yeah, absolutely. I find too with a lot of the coaches I've met or I've personally coached that they have a story like that. Like they have some kind of experience that really shaped them, where it was a near death experience, there was some, traumatic experience, there was just something that woke them up to remind them of this truth that
Mhm.
this could end at any moment. This is this ultimate gift. Life is very fragile, and do something incredible with it. Like really make use of it. And I feel like, especially now when we have so many, challenges in our world, we're living through a pandemic, we're living through lots of other things that, that ability to have someone like as a client, that ability to have someone who can really hold that space for you, who can help you find your own answers, which is really a big piece of what coaching is. I mean, I think coaching has evolved so much because it's not a new thing anymore. I mean, it's still relatively new when compared to like therapy or some other types of modalities, but um, most people have heard of coaches these days. And so we have an opportunity to really, ask ourselves, either as a coach or as a client, what is it that we want? What is it, if you're going to have a coaching business, what is it that you want within your business? What kind of clients do you want to work with? What kinds of programs do you want to lead? What's really your message? Like, what are you taking a stand for? And then on the client side, there's so many types of coaches to work with. There's so many types of programs to be a part of, that it's a glorious time to be in this field because the creative options kind of are endless, which is, it can be like a blessing and a curse because sometimes you tend to look around at what all these people are doing and it can be a bit overwhelming. So how do you've been in this space for a long time, Lisa, you've, done some other things, you've come back, how have you been able to really find what it is that you're here to be known for? Like, what is it that you are really passionate about?
That's a really good question, because I've kind of weaved in and out of different
Mhm.
areas, and I
Mhm.
liken it to trying on shoes. I didn't
Mhm.
come up with that, but it's like trying on shoes. And so for a while, um, I did some passion coaching work in previous
Mhm.
years with dream work. It's a passion of mine to really dive
Mhm.
into that hidden mystery, the subconscious, how what's being called forth
Mhm.
from our souls, so to speak, and
Mhm.
sometimes from the other side. And
Mhm.
so I did that passion work for a while, but there was always this thing calling me back to the business coaching. And in
Mhm.
fact, when I decided to join your coaching program, Jenny,
Mhm.
there was a couple things that kind of were driving me towards that. I had done a course
Mhm.
with you, and I really love your teaching style, and I
Mhm.
just love being in
Mhm.
your energy. So I've known
Mhm.
you for some time now, and so that was kind of an automatic. And
Mhm.
at the time, I was really toying around with whether I should go back to the business coaching, because the dream work it was fun and it was
Mhm.
meaningful, but it wasn't really gaining the traction that I wanted to see. And
Mhm.
so I was toying around with that, and I really felt like I needed that community of
Mhm.
other, being in community with other coaches. I've been in other programs before, so I know the power of being in community, being with a good teacher. And so for me to make that decision in going into a coaching program with you, I just knew that you were the teacher that I wanted to get refreshed and an update from. And there was some real pivotal moments. I was still in that point of vacillating, and and then COVID hit, like the first time I joined. COVID hit, and it's like, okay, now what? And so there's a couple things I just really want to share, because I think that might be relevant for some of the audience out there, that even though I had already been certified, even though I'd already been in different programs and in different communities at various points, there is a momentum that can happen when you are in a program with a really good teacher. And I knew that was the push that I needed to make some movements. And the other thing that was really common for me, and I think it's common across the board, but particularly for me, I always had this, I would get going, and then I get this, like, who do I think I am? What am I, play small, didn't want to share who I am, didn't feel like I could play with the big girls, so to speak, and, I would get this message that kept coming into me that would say, oh, somebody else is already doing that. There's no room for me to do that either. And that is and then the whole money piece. And so, I had done so much work on that in the past and could not break through. It just kept popping up again and again and again, which had me leery of stepping back into business coaching initially. I was like, what if that happens again and I'm just going to end up in the same place? Well, that's one of the reasons why I knew I was in the right place at the right time, because it was going to be now or never kind of thing. And, that's part of the story that I want to share when we get to that part.
Okay.
About what changed for me this last year. So
Okay,
that was that was really critical for me to take a look at, is like, okay, am I going to do this? And here's my plan.
Yeah, and I think that's important to bring up, and I'm glad you do, because if you are going to be a coach, you all who are watching this, you're either curious about becoming a coach or you are one, but maybe you are one, but you're not really telling people you are, or you kind of stepped away for a bit, but now you're wanting to step back in. You need to be all in. Like, that's just what it has to be. And I want to remind you of that. I want to remind everyone of that, because in order for your clients to be all in, you need to be all in. It's like, imagine you are working with a house builder and they're like, I don't know if I really want to build your house. I don't know if I really want to do this. I'm not really confident in my ability to build the house. Maybe I'll come by tomorrow. Maybe not. You go, I'm not working with that person. This isn't going to work. I don't know if I'll ever have a house built. So that's just like an interesting example, but it brings to light this truth, which is, you got to believe in yourself, and you have to believe in the work, and you have to believe that if you've been called for this work, there is a reason you've been called for this work. And there's people out there right now who need what you have. And yes, it can seem like there are so many coaches out there, because if you hang out on the internet streets, that's a lot of what you'll see, especially on social media, because a lot of coaches are very good at talking about their work and themselves and the clients that they support. And I'm shout out for the coaches who are willing to like make some noise. But you want to know that you belong here and you're meant for this work, and that you've got to really build up that confidence inside. And often it is, inside of working with a teacher, a coach, a mentor, because it can feel hard, it can feel challenging. So why don't you tell us a bit what happened for you last year, Lisa? I think you obviously went through a very challenging personal situation, just some shifts you needed to make. And then I want to also make sure we talk about some of what you've seen as mistakes when it comes to email marketing, which is something that as coaches we need to be familiar with and adept at.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, I joined Jenny's Magic Makers coaching certification program, and I think the startup was in March of last year. And
Mhm.
COVID had just hit, and it was just like, okay, let's go, let's do this. And it was great. And midway through the process, I hit a major medical emergency in my life related to cancer that I had 26 years prior, and I was in the hospital for about a month. Pretty much my whole everything went on hold in order to preserve my energy for healing, meditative self-care, extreme self-care. And I spent the majority of last year doing extreme self-care. And as a result, even though we have access to all the training materials, I wanted to do it again. I wanted to fully participate in the full entire program because I love being a student. And when I'm a student, I go all in. It's like, okay, I want maximum 110% of this program. And so I signed up again and went through round two, 110%. And
You
so,
did.
yeah. And so that was my journey. And in the midst of that journey, I mean, maybe it was had to do also with kind of a life-threatening situation again. But in the midst of that journey, some really incredible transformation happened. I had been working on my mindset stuff for years, and just the way you laid out the program, I have to just throw this in. The way you laid out the program is pure gold. It really is. I could tell you really took the time to make sure the energy flow was exactly what we needed at every step of the way, and it proved to be effective because the result that I saw over time, it wasn't like just, oh, click, but over time, the result that I saw and that I felt is that my clarity became very strong and steadfast. My confidence grew to a level that I've never experienced before in my life. Like, okay, I am doing this. I am playing with the big people, and I do have every single thing that I need. And I don't need any more credentials or degrees in order to do the thing that I love, which I had felt in prior years. And so I think, besides the skills, the coaching skills, and besides the business know-how to do an online business, I think that one of the kind of the hidden, not so mentioned things is our mindset. And so when all of the pieces come together and form the synergy, there's a breakthrough. There's a breakthrough.
Yeah.
And yeah. And so I really, really felt that this year, unlike any other programs that I've been in before.
Mm.
And you being our leader were very instrumental in that, not just the content that you put together, but your presence with us throughout the
I
process.
thank you.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love hearing that because it's so interesting, and I want everyone to take this in, not just about the program that Lisa was a part of and then I developed, Magic Makers Coach Certification, but just about anything that you might be putting together. Like, this is what I wanted to do when I created this program, was to say, hey, for those of you who are called to this path, because there's a lot, and you might have gone through another program or maybe you haven't, and you're called to this, you're drawn to this field of coaching, and specifically what we like to talk about is intuitive coaching, because it's like a whole nother level of coaching and depth. And you want to not only be an incredible coach, but you want to be an incredible online business person. That's why I developed it the way that I did. And I want you all, as you're developing your thing or your things, to be super in tune with, what do my people need? If they want to get to a particular result, if there's something that they are looking for, there's a challenge that they have, there's a situation that they're in right now, and they're struggling, they're suffering, they just want something different, they want something to change. How could you design an experience that will take them on that path? And that's really what you can do as a coach in particular. That's why I love coaching so much. I mean, there's lots of reasons, but one is that you literally can design whatever kind of experience you want for your people. I mean, to me, it's like the ultimate creative experiment, because you could say, okay, I want my people to have more success in their relationships. I want my people to know how to do email marketing. I want my people to know how to become a coach. I want my people to know how to break through money blocks. I want my people to know, like, whatever, okay? Like, whatever your thing is. And then you design a learning journey that supports them. It's this sacred container. And all those years ago, when I was struggling with my corporate existence, having done well and everything looked fine on paper, but me going, this isn't quite right. I could go work at another company doing this job, but why? I want something different. I have all these unique skills and I don't really know what to call myself, because when I called myself a public relations executive, I was like, that didn't quite fit. And then when I was a conference producer, like, that didn't quite fit. So what am I? Like, what is this thing? I have all this stuff inside. I want to write a book. I want to speak. I want to help people. I want to, lead retreats. Oh, that's a coach. Like, I didn't even know it existed. And then when I found that it existed, it was like this magical moment where I felt seen. I felt understood. And that was just an incredible experience. And, at that point, I found a coach training to be a part of, and it was rigorous and it was really powerful for me then. But what I then experienced after getting into business for myself was it's not enough to be an awesome coach. You need to know how to be an incredible business person. And if you don't know how to do business, you're not going to be coaching that long, or else you're going to have to go, find a company to hire you. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to be out on your own and you want to be setting your own hours and, really deciding how you're going to do this thing and what kind of programs you're going to lead and when you're going to work and then you have to really master this business landscape. All right, so let's dive deep. And P.S., for those of you who want to check out Magic Makers Coach certification, you can go to magicmakerscoach.com and see what we have for you. Our next class is starting in March. We have a few spots left, and we'd love to have you in there. If this is calling out to you, you can also send me a message for more details, but you'll see everything on that page. We do fill by application. We take the energy in our circle really, we do our part to ensure that it is the right fit, because, this pathway that we're on for coaching is, I believe, a really sacred, beautiful, exquisite experience. And so we do our part to facilitate that. So you can go to magicmakerscoach.com. And we do also offer a scholarship program for our amazing certification as well. So you can go check that out. We have just a few scholarship spots left, magicmakerscoach.com. All right, Lisa. So email marketing. Okay, email marketing. Let's talk about that, because this is a piece of being in business, is that you understand email is an awesome way to talk to your people. And so why is this so important, and what are some mistakes that wellness entrepreneurs make when it comes to email marketing?
Yeah, well, this is related to my story last year as well. And I've been in this business long enough to know that there is an essence of being a numbers game. I mean, you have to have an audience, basically. And so when I was in the midst of pivoting my business last year, and right before I ended up in the hospital, I hadn't put all my pieces together yet. And so as a result of having my hospital experience, everything went on hold. And I realize in retrospect that, you don't have a business if you're not doing something to grow it. And when life events happen, if you have your systems in place, at least a basic part of your systems in place, you can still have a business, or at least later down the road. And so I realized at that time that I needed to be on a mission to not only grow my own email list, but to help others. That's the point. That's a basic point of growing an online business, is having your own email list, because as we know, social media can change. And when you have an audience in your email, you're in their inbox and you have that relationship that you've developed with them over time, it makes your opportunities for success just that much greater. So, I saw my own mistakes that I had made, just kind of happenstance, but I also reached out to some cohorts of mine and asked them, what were their greatest mistakes for 2020? It was the end of the year. I was kind of doing some reevaluation myself and examination, and some of the same themes came through in their mistakes. And one mistake was not making email marketing or email list building a priority. You get caught up in all the offers and the things to do and the social media posts, and the offer kind of stays over there, and you forget that that's the engine that drives the machine. It's like, that's the thing that needs to be continually going. Stoke the fire, keep it going. And so that's the number one mistake that people made, is they didn't make it their priority. The other mistake is just not consistently engaging with their audience, whether it be not consistently sending out their emails, or maybe they have a Facebook group that they started and they weren't consistently engaging in that Facebook group. So what one of the things that I teach to do instead is to not pay attention so much to the numbers, but are you engaging with them? Are you listening to what they're saying? Are you asking the questions? Are you creating engagement? And so that's something to do instead. The third thing is letting your lead magnet, your free offer, the thing that you entice people into your email list with, letting that get stale. And it just kind of sits there. You've created this thing, and months, years go by, and pretty soon it's not relevant to what your business is about and who you are, and which creates a feeling of, oh, I'm kind of embarrassed about my free offer. I don't really want to tell people about it because it's so old. It's just not really related to what I'm offering anymore. And so keeping things fresh is a really good idea. Just having your email marketing be a presence that you're proud of, that you actually have no issue talking to people about it, and it's valuable, you're getting feedback, you're continuing to refine it and making it better along the way.
Yeah, way to break it down. All right, y'all. So to recap for you, here's some mistakes that wellness entrepreneurs, coaches are making when it comes to email marketing. Number one, you're not making list building a priority. And that really is the engine that's helping the business continue to be healthy. Number two, you're not consistently engaging with your audience. So you're not sending out those emails, or if you have a Facebook group or presence, like, you're not really connecting with your people. And I think sometimes what goes through people's heads, Lisa, let me know if this resonates with you, is that feeling like, and I say this to my clients a lot, you've heard me say this, Lisa, is this negative voice that says, my people don't want to hear from me. I don't want to bother them. I don't want to bother them.
Right.
And so what I say to you all, to my clients, is your people love hearing from you. Your people love hearing from you. And so what you can say to yourself right now is, my people love hearing from me. My people love hearing from me. Period, end. And if they don't want to hear from you, guess what? They can unsubscribe. They can unfollow you. And then the third mistake, letting your lead magnet get stale. All right. Oh my goodness. And so, Lisa, how can people find out more about you? How can they get in touch and see, what you've got going and how you might be able to support them?
Yeah. My website is lisahines.com. I have the free giveaway at the top of the page. So not only do I share about the 3 mistakes, but I have a whole guide of what you can do instead. And so you can find me there. I'm Lisa Hines Coach, pretty much across all the platforms.
So, awesome. Okay, Lisa. And then as we wrap up, what would you say to someone who might be, desiring to step more fully into their path as a coach, and then maybe they're saying, let me check this thing out, this program that Lisa's talking about. Like, what would you say to someone considering joining Magic Makers Coach certification?
I would say that if you're looking for a way to really move the needle forward on your business, investing in a coaching certification program that resonates with you is exactly where you need to be. When you're looking at return on investment, this is a robust training program, and you're getting all the material and the content as well as all the personal support. Another little piece that I forgot to mention is that you support mastermind pods in the group, and that is a
Mhm.
big part of the journey too. In fact, I was privileged to be a captain of the mastermind
Mhm.
pod, which really,
Mhm.
I think, catapulted my confidence even further. I think that was,
Thank you for bringing that up.
I got to be in a leadership role, and
Yep.
yeah, and so it's just, it's if you're ready to do it, like, do it. Do a
Mhm.
coaching certification program that's going to have a well-rounded approach for you, that's going to bring in kind of the mystical along with the
Mhm.
practical. And so
Mhm.
the other thing that I wanted to mention really quickly also is that a lot of people, especially new coaches, they put the email marketing and email list building on hold until they get it all figured out. So the main message I want to share is it's not too early to start building your
Mm.
email marketing list. There's ways of
Totally.
stepping into that.
Yes. And everyone starts at the same place, which is, 0 people on your list, or maybe it's like your family members and
Yeah,
your pets. Uh,
my
but
mom,
yeah,
greatest
yeah,
fan.
exactly. And then, and then you grow with it, and you go on this, really powerful journey. I love emailing my people. If you're on my email list, I love emailing you. I love sending you things. And, I hear back from people who've been on my list for years and years and years. They're like, hey, I loved that email. And then too, I want to make sure we talk about this, with emails. You're always going to get unsubscribed. Okay. And so if you're like, what if somebody unsubscribes? They're going to. Okay, they're going to, and it does not matter. It does not matter. If you've got to have a thicker skin to be able to do this work, because the transformation that you're going to offer to your people is too important. It's too great to worry that somebody decided they didn't want to be on your email list because they just were shutting down that email, or they just, couldn't deal that day. That's all right. This work is about putting ourselves out there and really fulfilling the call that's been placed in our hearts. Like, that is it. Period. End. Period. End. If you're looking for support, and you want to check out what we have for, again, go to magicmakerscoach.com and see what we have for you. Go visit Lisa over at her website, lisahines.com. And thank you again for being here at Coach Magic. We're going to be broadcasting the show live over the next few weeks. It's going to be live right here on Facebook, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific Time. And I look forward to being back with you soon for our next episode. Thank you so much, Lisa Hines, for being here. Thank you to everyone out there. And shout out to all you coaches and all of you called to this path who may be feeling a little nervous, a little unsure, but there is that small, still voice within that says, go. I'll be here for you next time. All right. Take good care, everyone. Be well.